second reason that disabled people need to roll away from the Democrat Party is because of socialized medicine. Right now, every single Democratic presidential candidate is running on a platform where they want some sort of socialized healthcare plan or socialized medicine. And inevitably, the first people to suffer under these socialized healthcare plans are the disabled. And there's a couple different reasons for it. The number one reason is because under a socialized healthcare system, it's under a first-come, first-served basis. So in the UK, for example, 24% of all cancer patients under the National Health Service do not receive treatment on time. And in the UK, on-time treatment is upwards of 62 days. That amount of time, that amount of months can be the difference between life and death for a person with a disability that needs a treatment. That amount of time can mean the difference between having to have a small, non-invasive procedure and having to have a major procedure that causes months of rehabilitation. It's unfair to the disabled community that has to wait months to be treated. It's unfair to their job employment because they can't work while they're waiting to be treated. And it's unfair to the taxpayers that have to carry the burden of that extra cost when you let something like a medical treatment go on so long where it gets worse. The second reason that it's bad for the disabled community is because it takes away the rights from the patients and the caregivers and gives it to the government. I like to use the story of Charlie Gard as the cautionary tale for socialized healthcare. Charlie Gard was a boy who was born in August of 2016 with mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome. He had one type of treatment that he could go for that was an experimental treatment, and it was only being done in the United States, but his parents brought it over to the UK where he was born. And after 4 months of having this treatment in the hospital and the UK High Courts decided, well, it's not effective enough. And they stopped the treatment that they were doing on Charlie Gard. Even though his parents were willing to pay for all of the medical costs, his parents were willing to transfer Charlie to another hospital that would do the procedure. But because the hospital objected and said that it was unfair to raise the parents' hopes about whether or not Charlie might survive his MDDS, they decided that putting Charlie to death was a more appropriate answer. And that's just wrong. And the third reason why socialized medicine is bad for the disabled community is because it does not compensate the doctors fairly for the amount of work that they're doing. And that can lead to either one of two issues. The first issue is that you start hiring doctors that are not qualified for the jobs or positions that they're in because you are underpaying and undercutting what they deserve, okay? For example, in the UK, a starting physician is only going to make about $32,000 a year. But when you compare that to the salary of what a tunnel operator makes, that's $60,000 a year. You can't convince me that somebody that runs a train should make more of an income than a person that is actively saving lives by being a physician. So you will have an influx of physicians that come in that are undereducated and underqualified, or you will just not get people to join the healthcare system because why would they want to join a system where they're not going to be compensated fairly for their work? So right now the UK is suffering a crisis, a shortage crisis of doctors, specialists, and healthcare professionals, which is leading to even longer wait times for disabled people to receive treatment. And in the end, that can be lethal for any disabled person.